Okay, I'm here on video, but I'll probably turn that off if you. I'm in my studio right now working here.
Yeah.
I've got, a lot of orders. I just shipped 5 big boxes of hats.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm gonna. There we go.
And Laura, what is your last name? Are you one of our current clients? Have you worked with us before?
Yeah, you guys brought my Laura Ingalls, INGAL.
Oh, yeah.
Probably know me.
No, nothing bad.
Well, your team did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
My website is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love it.
And hey, Kamika, I'm just going to give a few minutes. You never know who's going to actually hop on live. It's in the middle of the day too. So we will see if who else hops on in a couple minutes, and then I'll get started. I need to play like the Jeopardy music or something. I should look that up. Oh no, then we get in trouble. I think that's just the lives though, that you can't play music. Kamika, that name doesn't sound familiar. So we haven't worked with you yet, right? Are you on Shopify?
That is correct. Yes, I am on Shopify. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
How do you feel about your website? Like, can I take, I was hoping to use somebody's as an example, somebody's that wasn't perfect.
Yeah, it's nowhere near perfect.
Do you want me to use yours as an example?
Oh, that makes me nervous, but why not?
What is your web address?
It is shopmckennablue.com.
Let's see if I spelled it right. No. Is it MCK? I have put KENNAH.
No H.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, and I've seen everything under the sun, so it is not terrible already, I can tell you that, but it is a good example of some tips that I can give you. So that'll be perfect. Let's see. So Melanie, are you watching because we didn't set it so that it automatically let people in. Are you watching?
I can't see the, you'd have to make me a guest, then I'll be able to monitor that for you.
You mean a host?
That thing, yes.
Make host.
Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Okay, so I set you as a host. Do you see it now? And then let me pull up my chat here in case. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started, and if people hop on, that's great. So, Melanie, can you just confirm you're good over there with letting people in though?
I haven't found it yet, but usually it just pops up as a little screen if somebody's waiting to come in.
Well, if you just click on participants.
Yeah, I clicked on them and there wasn't additional people waiting.
Right, no, yeah, there's not now. Okay, that's where they'll
Not
be
now.
though. Yeah, okay.
But yes, no, I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, all right, so, we'll start with, I'm Angela, so Laura, I know you know who I am and everything, but I'm the CEO of Hot Mess. So we're a branding and web design agency. We're just a little over 3 years old. And I started as a boutique owner myself. Actually, I didn't pull up my own website that we might refer back to, but I currently am fully focused on Hot Mess, but you know, Thong in It Boutique, so it's a play on like flip-flops basically. We, you know, was my starting point in terms of learning everything about e-commerce, and I just found that I loved the branding and website aspect, so I just really went all in for that. So that's just a tiny little bit about me. I got a volunteer already, Kamika, so I have your website pulled up. Thank you for doing that. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, but know that, like, again, I have literally seen everything. You are off to a good start, and we all have improvements to make. Websites should constantly be improving and evolving, like, as our business changes and grows. So okay, so before I kind of get into everything, there's some concepts that I want to go over. If you guys follow me really closely and watch some of our like YouTube videos or read our blogs, you may be aware of some of these already, but just so that we're on the same page. And I also want to say, especially since we're a short, small group of who's here today, feel free to just unmute and ask me a question if you would like. Or you can chat, and then Melanie, if you feel there's a good point to say, like, to ask me the question, you can unmute too and ask. So just don't be shy. I also don't mind actually showing you. I have our back end up for our demo accounts, not only to show you guys some examples of what I'm going to suggest, but also I can show you how to do some of these things on the back end. So just nothing is really off limits. I'm an open book. Feel free to ask anything along the way about anything I'm talking about. So these concepts, conversion rate, I hope you guys are really familiar with this one, but you know, it's just basically the number of visitors, right? Out of all of the visitors that come to your site, the percentage of people that actually end up making a purchase. And I get really commonly, I hear people ask, you know, or say, I'm getting a lot of traffic, but not any sales. And most of the time, they're really not getting enough traffic. Because the you know, industry average for e-commerce for conversion rate is only 2%, which is like really, really low, right? So that means, like, you're lucky if 2 people out of 100 purchase. So that's always the first thing is, well, it's a chicken or egg sort of a thing. You know, you want your website to be optimized when your visitors hit your website, because you worked really hard to get those traffic, you know, to get that traffic. But you also have to make sure you're getting that traffic. You can't just have the website and, you know, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. So that's conversion rate. And then we have customer journey. That is literally from the moment that somebody hears of you anywhere, whether they got an email, they saw a post on social media, they saw a Facebook ad, whatever it is, from the moment that they find out about you and eventually hopefully get to your website. And they may not get to your website the first time they hear about you, right? It can take time and building that relationship and getting in front of them. But you know, first they hear of you, see stuff that you're posting, they make it to your website, they make it to a product, they add something to cart, they end up at cart page, checkout page, and they finally purchase. That's basically the customer journey. So when you're thinking about your website, you want to make sure that every single aspect of the customer journey is built in a way to promote them continuing on in the process, because you can lose them at any step of that process, right? They could not even get to your website if they don't like your advertising in the first place. But once they make it to your website, how can you make sure they can progress through that process? That's also called a funnel. You guys might hear that word a lot too. Funnels, I feel like, are used for other sorts of businesses, more like like we would have a funnel, you know, to get potential leads to work with us eventually in some way. But you guys, it would be more like the customer journey. How do you get them in the end to purchase? And then it doesn't end there, right? Because you still talk to them after that. There's the packaging, all kinds of things. So that's what the customer journey is. And then customer objection, what today is, you know, going to be focused on is just anything in that whole customer journey, anything that could prevent them from continuing on. And they may have real, like, tangible questions, or they may have like subconscious beliefs or concerns about purchasing. Like, you really just never know what's going on. So anything that can prevent them from moving further along the customer journey could be a customer objection. And then above the fold, so if you guys haven't heard of this, it's simply when you hit a website, what you see right then on whatever page you're on, right? So I'm looking at the home page here, but we could have landed on any page. And in fact, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But whatever somebody sees before they even scroll, because you literally only have like a couple of seconds for them to hit your page and decide whether they're even going to move to the next step of the customer journey or not, or whether they're going to just bounce. Oh, did I add that on this term, bounce rate? Yeah, oh, that's next. Okay. So, and you have to think with the above the fold, this is on any device. So it gets tricky because there used to be a lot more standardized guidelines as to, you know, exactly what size that above the fold area is. But now there are so many different device types, mobile, from a cell phone, you know, to an iPad. And then even those are different sizes. Desktops are different sizes. So anyway, but it's that general idea of what is at the top is the most important. And is that giving your visitor the information they need to feel comfortable, safe, and just interested in staying and scrolling. So that's what the above the fold is. And interestingly enough, I learned recently, well, it makes sense, but that this term has been used forever, and it's used all over the place, but it actually started with newspapers, because if you think about it, newspapers would be folded in half when they're put out somewhere, and that's where they learned that what's that front and center, you know, first page headline is what's most important in order to get somebody to grab that newspaper. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But okay, so your bounce rate, if they make it to your website, again, whatever page they end up on, whatever device they're on, if that above the fold isn't enough to entice them to scroll, and actually, even if they do scroll, oh, I don't know if that's mine. Sorry about that. Okay, so even if even if they do scroll, but they don't actually click on anything, like they make it to this page, they see the above the fold, maybe they scroll a little bit, but they're like, nah, never mind, they leave. That's literally called them bouncing. And so every single page on your website, from your home page to your about page, every single product page is its own page, every single collection page, those are all pages, and each of them has their own bounce rate. So if the bounce rate was 80%, for example, that means that of the people that land on that page when they hit your website first thing, the percentage of people that end up just leaving your site before even clicking on anything else, that's the bounce rate. So you obviously want to keep that as low as possible, especially on the pages that you're getting the most traffic on. And that's something you can check in your Shopify dashboard. For a couple of you that joined a little bit later, I know we're still a very small group, which is awesome. I'm going to send out the recording after to everybody too, but feel free to unmute at any time and ask me a question too. I don't mind. Like, I'm an open book. I have our demo account up that I can even show you some things like in the background to act like how you do something. I don't mind sharing whatever. So okay, so bounce rate. Oh, so that's something that you can look up in Shopify so that you know, like, oh, hey, this page is getting a lot of traction. When this might be common is like, if you have a pin on Pinterest that goes viral, for example, you could be getting a ton of traffic to that one product page, and you could actually focus on that product page. You can go into your Shopify, make a product page template. One of the things I need to talk about is the change of comment sold 1.0 to 2.0. I don't know if you guys are all aware of this. Even past clients, this affects you guys. You guys have been able to see my screen the whole time, right? That's weird. It says participants can now see your screen. You guys already could though, right? That little note that popped up. Anyway, hopefully. Now I'm like distracting myself. Okay, so what was I just saying? Someone chatted. Yes, the whole time. Melanie, what was I just saying? Do you okay, I literally have so much going on in this brain every day, every minute.
You were about to reveal all the new stuff about the 2.0 upgrade.
Oh,
for
okay.
Shopify.
So this is going to be important for you guys to know, because like, and I'll mention when some of these features I'm showing you are on 2.0, but Shopify recently made a bunch of upgrades to just their whole like website platform. So you'll notice if you go to the Shopify theme store, for example, you still right now can access like all the old versions of themes, but they also have 2.0 themes. That is the new way. There are some really cool features that you can only access if you have the newest version of the theme. And unfortunately, it's not like an easy click of a button upgrade. It's not extremely difficult. We've done it for a few clients. It depends on how much coding we had done, because basically it is starting over with a fresh theme. Like it's a blank slate. None of the graphics are plugged in, and the menus are plugged in. Any coding that was done has to be redone. So like for our clients, it's generally taken between 2 to 4 hours depending on the situation. So we do offer that, but anyway, just know that some of these are features that are on that. Eventually you will kind of be forced to upgrade. I don't know when that will be. It could be a whole year or even 2 from now, but like the old versions of the themes are going to become obsolete and outdated and just simply not work anymore eventually. So just something for you to keep in mind. Again, happy to answer any questions about that. So website optimization. So this is just basically the process of kind of taking all of this information, taking your conversion rate into mind, your bounce rates, paying attention to your above the fold, and making small or large changes to your website in order to improve the chances of people continuing along in the customer journey, right? And you want to think about it as like one step at a time. So, you can focus on, okay, first, how do I get more people to my website, traffic? And then once you get the traffic up, then it's like, okay, how can I make sure that the people landing don't just bounce? Then you're focusing on that. And then, so it's one thing at a time. And it really is like, I mean, when people work with us for a revamp, for example, yes, we're overhauling their entire website and brand. So that's a ton all at once, but it doesn't have to be all at once like that. You can make really small, meaningful changes that can have a big impact. And it's trial and error too. So even if you do a big overhaul, it shouldn't be like done for you forever. you want to keep making small changes to see like what really works, because as with everything else too, what works for one business may or may not be the same thing that works for the next. It depends on your ideal customer type and all of that sort of stuff. So there's a couple of considerations before we talk about customer objections. First of all, like, where is your traffic coming from? What customers are we talking about? Because, you know, a very warm customer that has heard all about you, maybe they're in your Facebook group, but they haven't purchased yet, you know, but they like you already. That's going to be, their objections are going to be totally different from someone who has literally never heard of you at all. They have no friends that have ever even heard of you. So maybe you worked really hard on your Facebook ads to get brand new customers coming in, right? But they don't know you at all. So their objections are going to be different. And then same if they're totally hot, like they're loyal customers already. So you kind of want to think like, where is the majority of your traffic coming from? And, you know, catering the changes that you make on your website to that specific customer type, you know. And then also, where are they actually landing on your website? I think it's a really easy and common misconception to think that the homepage is the end all be all most important. You know, and obviously, even when we work with clients, we do focus a lot on the homepage. And to be honest, when we first started our business, like a few years ago, really all we were helping with was the homepage. That was really it. We didn't really touch anything else. But you know, we have learned so much along the way, and the homepage is the tip of the iceberg. That's not where people are even landing on your site. You know, how often are you, maybe some people are, but like, how often are you actually posting just your web address? No, you're usually linking to a specific collection, whether it's new arrivals or you're promoting a specific sale collection. So they're landing on a collection page. They may not know you at all, and the first site page that they're hitting is a collection page, or it could be a product page. And also it pretty much should always be those things, because if you're promoting a particular product, when somebody clicks on that link, they want to go right to that product, right? They don't want to have to find it. So that would be a way to lose them, really. So yes, you know, your homepage, you know, being thoughtful about it is important, because if you do get someone that stays on your site and is looking around, obviously the chances are pretty good that they're going to click home at some point to get back to the homepage, and having a clean professional look there is important. So absolutely, it still matters, but don't underestimate and don't ignore the importance of your collection pages and product pages too. And so we're going to go over those pages, especially even more so than the homepage, really, because again, they may never even scroll down and see this beautiful stuff that you have going on. It really kind of depends on what they want and how quickly they want to get to what, you know, whatever they're needing. So those are the things you want to think about. And so I would urge you even to focus on your collection pages and product pages first, because those are probably where you're sending people. So when someone very first hits your website, and in this case, we're going to be considering that they're cold to you, right? That they don't know much about you. Maybe it's their first time they've even been to your website, and you know, they just don't know you from the next door neighbor, you know, boutique. So anyway, their very first objections are going to be around trust and legitimacy, right? Just, can I trust this business? Is this a legitimate business in the sea of, like, you know, what's out there? You know, are these going to be quality products? You know, just, is it a reputable business? So some of the ways to focus on that is, you know, one of the first things is your branding, and why this is so important. It just does set apart a company that looks like it was thrown together, or looks like it could literally be fake. So don't underestimate the power of strong, cohesive, memorable branding. And you know, and then there's other little things that you can be using. So, something like the announcement bar, how you utilize that, the message that you have there, can help them to feel, this is all about making them feel safe, right? So, free shipping, that's always good to know. Can they quickly get to your policy information, your shipping and return information? Is that all really thorough? Because they want to know, how long, like if I order something, how long is it going to take to get to me? Is this coming from the US even, or is this like something overseas? I mean, again, you guys know what's out there, and they're worried about that. So how can you answer that question front and center right in front of them before they even realize that it's a concern of theirs, right? So like on Impulse, so there's 3 top themes that we recommend. I'm using Impulse as our demo today. But it's Impulse, Icon, and Turbo are our top 3 recommendations. And one of the things I like about Impulse, you can actually have a few different messages. So free shipping, which is always enticing, not really about trust, but sezzle payment plans, and then we have just those 2. But another one that you could do is like ridiculously easy returns with a link to your return policy. Or just make sure that right within the main menu, you have that information. And we always, urge you to put it in the main menu as well as the footer menu, just so that wherever they're looking for that information, they can find it quickly. So just anything, the other things that can help add to legitimacy besides branding. And so even great photos comes into play there, because like, I don't know if you guys have seen any sites where, I understand the use of stock photos. I don't recommend it. I seldom recommend it, but I understand why that's needed sometimes. But I've actually seen where people have screenshotted a stock photo from their vendor, but they screenshotted it in a way that, how like sometimes there'll be like a little heart because that website has like a wish list, or they'll have like a little banner that says like plus sizes or something like that. They'll screenshot it like that with those little icons. That doesn't look like it's even your photo. They would have no reason to think that that's reputable. Like I would be like, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, and no offense to anybody, if that's anything you've done. We all started somewhere and we all learn as we go. So, but just take care that everything looks legitimate and professional, but if you have a storefront, adding your storefront information is not only about having that information in case someone hits, and actually could go to your store. I would say that's the secondary reason to have that information. The first is just legitimacy. Again, if you have a brick and mortar storefront, and bonus if it's in the visitor's backyard, but even if it's not, it still adds that extra layer of like, oh, they have a real shop, and here's the photo, and here's their hours, here's their address and phone number. Like it adds to that layer of trust. And again, without, because the customer doesn't necessarily, these questions are not things that they even know they're thinking about, right? You're trying to answer the different questions and objections that could be running through their mind before they even have the opportunity to think that thing. So before they even think, this doesn't look right, like make sure that it looks right. Make sure that all the things that they may worry about are easy for them to access the information on. Testimonials, even your Instagram feed, which I know ours isn't connected here on our demo site, but even your Instagram feed is just that social proof that you're real, that this isn't just some random website. Like every little detail like that matters. So those are initial objections. See, so yeah, like on here I don't see. Okay, so refund policy, shipping policy. The other thing about return policies, just to keep in mind is, I know that we're often such small businesses that, it's hard to refund It's hard to manage returns time-wise, and just, it's hard for a small business, because, you know, we may not be able to resell that item, you know, especially if we give them long enough. But there has been some, you know, research done that actually shows offering a longer window actually even reduces return rate, because, well, basically because they, you know, they don't feel rushed to make that decision. So they give themselves time with it, and then they end up either deciding to keep it or forgetting about it, or whatever the case is. But it's also just really customer centric. So there's no right or wrong here. I'm not necessarily recommending that you change your policy here, but it's just something, it's like all of these things can make an impact. You know, we don't have to change, like whatever I say today, like you don't have to make every single change, but you can start with a few and kind of see what happens. You know what I mean? See if that has an impact. Yeah, having a really customer centric return policy would make, you know, those really cool visitors more comfortable. Like if they say see 7 days, they might feel like it's just rushed for them, you know. Same thing whether you offer store credit only or whether you do offer refunds. I know that it's hard to offer those refunds, and if you're getting way too many, I totally understand. Now on the flip side, managing those store credits is not really fun either. So unless you're like issuing gift cards or something that you don't really have to manage going forward. Although what if they lose the gift card? Anyway, it's, you know, it's cleaner to refund, honestly, and the customers would prefer it. But, you know, that's up to you guys. But this is all just like kind of stuff to think about. But whatever you can do to make your return policy really concise and clear, make sure nothing is duplicated in there. You know, bullet point or headings are good to break up, especially if you have a lot of information on that page. Instructions on what to do when you have a return, all that stuff should be on that page. And then for shipping, you want to make sure this just looks a little bit long to me. Like this is kind of a lot of text after your payment. Oh, maybe it's not too bad. Just again, like however you can be as concise as possible, because if they see a ton of text on any of these pages, they don't want to read it, you know. But they just want to know, like, what is the rate, or is it free? How soon am I going to get this item? You know, that's all they, you know, really want to know. Although if you do offer multiple rates, okay, yeah. Oh, and local delivery, local pickup. So, so you do at least have that down here. So that's great versus like I have seen situations where it's not at all. I mean, I would definitely say that the branding could use some love just in terms of, you know, being cohesive and clear. I do like, I'm assuming these are your photos. These ones here anyway, this looks like a model I know, so I'm assuming this is stock, but they do at least all flow together and are similar, so that's good. But yeah, I think just like some work on cohesive branding would really help bring your homepage together for sure. So those are their first possible objections around trust and legitimacy. If they've stuck with you long enough at that point, let's see. If I change themes on Shopify, what happens to my website? Like, do I need to go down for construction? Does it change my site menus? I want to change from debut to have more above the fold info, but I'm scared. Also, is there anywhere that gives web banner recommended dimensions? So your collections and menus are already built. So those are going to be safe. They do have to just be like plugged back in to the new theme, but you're not having to like rebuild those. So your products, collections, and menus are still going to be there, and you're not having to redo any of that. You're just having to, on the new theme under, you know, header area, you'll see where it says menu and you just choose menu. So you do have to just like plug it back in, but you're not rebuilding anything. But everything else, like your homepage, will be a completely blank slate. So like here where we have the main banner and we have what the announcement bar says and we have the logo, We have a specific collection plugged in here, graphics plugged in, like it'll all be blank. Like you have to lay out the homepage the way you want it, plug everything in, adjust your colors, add your logo, link in your menus, you know, for the header area and footer. So it is a bit of work. It's not, but you don't go down at all. You would add your live website would stay live as it is, and you would work on a new theme in the background. And actually, for any of you guys, like if you're wanting to make any of the changes that we talk about today, I would start by making a copy if you're not going to start a new theme. Because if you haven't upgraded in a while, you might as well switch at least to one of the 2.0 themes, right? Now the 2.0 themes are a little bit more expensive. Again, they're one-time costs. I mean, if you already have Icon, you can update to the 2.0 for free. I believe. I should 100% know that answer, but so it's just if you are getting a whole new theme, basically. But if you're on a free theme, then you're gonna have to buy a 2.0 theme. So, or use the free 2.0 theme is called Dawn. So that's available in Shopify too, but it is a whole new theme. So I've also changed code on something following YouTube videos, and I can't. Yeah, it is a bit of work. It is a bit of work to change it up. And if you're going to make some solid changes to your website, I would recommend going ahead and getting the latest version of the theme if it's been a while, because even if it weren't for 2.0, which is a really good reason to switch up, every theme maker is always making improvements and adding features and all that sort of thing. So whenever you are making some big website changes and it's been at least 6 months, I would almost always recommend trying to do that. I mean, we do offer that as a service too, but you know, I understand it is and isn't in some budgets, but the other thing we offer is just one-on-one screen share sessions where we can, you know, do certain, like, you can do what you can and then come to us with your list of questions, basically like where you're stuck, and we can just show you how to do things. And if there's anything that's just a little bit time consuming, we don't have to spend time on it together there, but we can show you what to do, and then you can finish on your own kind of thing. So we have different ways of helping. So feel free to email me or Facebook message me, and we can always chat about that too. But so I think that, web banners. There's not really a right or a wrong answer, but when we, for our projects for the main banner, we do 1800 by 800. We normally double the pixels though, just to make sure that it's high enough quality that it's not blurry or anything. But like on this website, for example, we have two. Well, we actually have these little guys here, which are like 1200 by 200, I want to say. And then these, I think I just did square. They might be a little bit portrait, but so there's no right or wrong. It's just kind of a matter. And, you know, I used to say, you want to make sure that it's fully visible above the fold. That's not necessarily true, because something that I was just reading that caught my attention the other day was, you know, it's new. What's changed in the digital age is like, we're all so used to scrolling. So it might not be as hard to get them to scroll as you think anymore, but you have to give them a reason to scroll. So yes, they have to see enough above the fold to get them to even want to stay and scroll. But if your banner is partially cut off and they have to scroll to see the rest of it, or like if they hit your product page, it used to be that they would say, when, and now I'm thinking about mobile, right? If you are looking at something on mobile, it used to be, well, if we can get everything available up above the fold, including the pricing, like anything that's really key, it's better. But that also gives them the opportunity to see the price and just immediately bounce without even scrolling and seeing anything else that you have on that page. So if the price is hidden, that could actually get them to scroll. Now, this is the sort of thing that you can play around with on trial and error and see like what really works for you. One of the things with trial and error though, is like, you're only going to have enough data if you have enough traffic to your website, right? I mean, if you have like 20 hits a day and you make a small change, it's not really going to be enough data for you to make a decision on that. But when you're getting hundreds of hits a day and you make a small change and you actually do notice a difference in your conversion rate, that does mean something, you know? So that's what's, you know, rough, is like on some of these things, there's no 100% right or wrong answer. But and actually, like I do kind of recommend, you know, 2 images here that link to different things. You know, it could be 2 different collections that are shown here, and then your row of new arrivals, you know, and then some of your other featured collections. But again, the homepage is only so important. So just make sure that really the bulk of your concern as far as conversion rate should be involved with your collection pages and product pages. So that's what we're going to get into next, I believe. Yeah. So let me see if there's any. Okay. So if they haven't bounced yet, if you still have them so far, here are the next objections that might come to their mind. Do you have their preferred sizes, styles, or even specific items available? Will this item fit me? When will I get this? Which we already kind of talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to show you how on the product page you can speak to this as well. And then what happens if I don't like this? So this is the return information, right? So say that they clicked directly on a specific item somewhere and they made it to a product page. Some of the you know, our favorite themes have some cool features, like for a reminder about free shipping, you know, right on every product page, low stock alert, you know, rather than a drop down, these easy size swatches, color swatches. Here are some other small spaces that could make a difference. Like if you have a theme with color swatches and you have your color swatches on, but you have not loaded colors, because your theme is going to automatically recognize some colors, but it's fairly limited. And it doesn't recognize like patterns. And also it gets it wrong sometimes. Like it just will show a color and I'm like, that's not what we would, you know, we in the fashion world would call navy, you know, or whatever it is. So, because if there is not a color for this to pull from, for your theme to pull from, it's going to just be white. And then they're going to have to click on it to even see the color. And it's just confusing and doesn't look professional or good, right? All you really have to do is create, you know, in any design program, even Canva is fine, a little square that's like 240 by 240 pixels, put the color or pattern you want, because it can even be like a photo of, you know, floral or polka dots or whatever, and that could be the pattern. Save that and name it exactly. So whatever the variant color is called, like when you uploaded the product itself, you would just name it that, and it would be a PNG, and you literally just throw that. Our top 3 themes anyway, you can just put it in the files. And so we've added all these colors here. And for our clients, we do automatically, we have like a whole folder full of colors that we add for you guys. Now anyway, that like, this is probably within the last 6 months or so that we started doing this. But let's see. So anyway, small detail. If it's 2 words, like if it was light blue, it would be light dash blue is exactly how it needs to be titled to work like that. So another thing is like your buttons throughout your customer journey, are they prominent enough? An example would be, I've seen where these buttons are really light, or like maybe the button is light gray and the text is white. I mean, you can, they don't contrast well, so it's really easy to miss that button. Even this button actually in our demo is not extremely prominent, but it's not terrible. Let's see, how do you add the free shipping? Well, that didn't actually work on the new themes the way I wanted it to, but how I have it, let's see, do I have it set up on this one? No. Let me show you. This is Impulse. I might have been on this one. Or it's on, no. Turbo. Okay, so for some reason this didn't work the way I wanted it to on Impulse and Icon. Through coding development, anything is possible though, but basically these are tags. So this is a tag filter. We'll go over filters in a minute too, but I've done available for in-store pickup. So you would tag the item with this whole phrase. And then the same thing here, you would tag it with available for shipping. And then what I did is I set it as actually not a tag filter. I set it as a color swatch feature, but so that it would show this like, so this is in lieu of like a color. It was just kind of a workaround. We could also work on that on like a call or something, but so basically this is like acts like the color swatch, and then this is a tag. And same with these color filters. Well, let me see, where are we? We'll get to filters in a second. So preferred sizes, styles, and specific items. This is all about your website organization. You know, like, is it easy for them to find what they're looking for specifically? Is it easy to find items that are specifically in their size and in stock? Is there a lot of out of stock items on your website? That can just annoy people, and it goes both ways. Like, you know, there are some people that it's within their strategy for their ideal customer type to purposely have items that are out of stock, you know, to promote scarcity and urgency and that kind of thing, and popularity and all of that. I, though, tend to be in the camp where my ideal customers, like for my boutique, weren't interested in that. You know, it would annoy them more than anything, because if they land on an item that they really wanted that's not in their stock, strike one. If they stay on your site anyway and keep looking and they land on another product that's not in stock in their size, that's why another thing I recommend is, like, when you're down to like one item left on something, like where there's only like one size left in something, especially if you carry, say, small to 3X, and you literally only have like 1 or 2 sizes left, think about if there's any other way for you to move that item. If you have a storefront, that would be clearance rack time, you know, or if you do events, $20 rack. Like, it would be better than having a site that's just riddled with items that are like people can't actually buy because they're not in their size. Or you can move all of those into a specific collection, so that, and name that collection in a way that, like, well, either clearance or you know, last one left, single items, so that people aren't surprised when they get to that area that they're not all available in all the sizes, kind of thing. So, because just, again, anything that can be confusing, frustrating, annoying, and they could bounce and leave your site. So as far as styles and specific items, it's like, if they say that they get to your site looking at a pair of jeans, right? And so far they're liking, you know, they feel like they can trust you. They looked at your shipping and return information. They're like, okay. They're like, but I wonder if I could find jeans that are even cuter than this here. Well, can they easily get to jeans? Now, on our demo site, we don't have subcategories listed, right? So that could be a problem. I mean, it depends on how many, you know, how big your catalog actually is. So that's where, if you do have a larger catalog, absolutely subcategorize. Your main menu shouldn't be much longer than this. Otherwise, it just turns into an overwhelming laundry list, basically. And that, again, could make people, that's another thing. If they're overwhelmed, they'll just leave instead of trying to find what they're looking for. So you always want to make sure that your search bar is prominent, that your menu is really well organized, that if you do have a large enough catalog, which, you know, really with bottoms, like if there was more than a full page's worth, I would go ahead and start to subcategorize. If it's less than that, like you're talking about 10, 15 items around there, then I would say do not subcategorize, because the other thing is you can also over subcategorize, right? And that's also annoying to them. So like if they have to click around too many times, you know, and they keep hitting collections with only a couple of items, that's also going to be frustrating. So you just want to figure out where that is for you. And there's also the mega menus to make this a little bit more digestible if needed. So this only has one row of links, but you could have multiple rows. So if accessories would be a good example, like if you had accessories, but then underneath accessories, you wanted to show headwear, and that was going to break down into scrunchies, hats, you know, and then you were going to have jewelry. So just think about like the easiest, cleanest way to organize your things, and how can they get to items in as few clicks as possible. So will this fit me? So, okay, now I'm kind of getting, I want to just, let's see, what time are we at even anymore? Oh, my thing. Okay, we're running close, although, I mean, I don't have necessarily an end time, but I do want to just make sure that we cover the product page and collection page well enough. So on the product page, some cool things that you can do. Oh, now we're back on turbo. Whenever I open a new one, it remembers. So let me just like, let me get out of here and refresh. And we're looking at impulse. And actually, really quickly, let me just take a look. New arrivals. So you have all products. So this is probably a full tag list. And probably because I don't know that Debut even offers anything else. I think that's what you said you had. This looks like.
Yeah, you're right. And I've been working on removing those because I didn't even know it was there one day until I was playing around and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And so I've slowly been working on going through removing some of the tags I created.
Oh yes, I've seen again, like, yeah, I mean, this isn't too bad, but yeah, if there's like a ton of tags, again, it's not going to be helpful for them. It's just going to be overwhelming. Okay, so yeah, let's start with product page. So here's a good example.
What does that say?
Free shipping on 75. Okay, so in your, this may require coding or because on this theme, I don't know how if you have access to it, but if you guys are ever trying to change language somewhere on your theme and you can't find it within the theme itself, you can also go to the theme, well, say that it was live, and edit language. And there are some more options here of different little nooks and crannies where you can change what it says. So on some themes, this here would be able to change. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this saying shipping calculated and checkout, but if you have flat rate shipping or free shipping, that's really what it should say instead, because otherwise this could make the customer think like, oh, well, how much is shipping then, you know? So just anything that can help them. And then it's good that, yes, if you offer a special payment plan type of situation, making sure that you have the page widgets up and on. The only concern I have is when you're offering multiple, it just can take up a lot of room and be a little clunky. So that's something else where you could actually remove these and through coding, so through a developer, you know, have it give another message like that just says, you know, multiple payment options available at checkout, or list them out. So those are just some ideas. Again, the tabs where they can easily see the sizes that are in stock. Oh, that is sunglasses, so there are no sizes. I was like, why is that not showing? Okay, these guys, it's a little easier because at first glance they can already see if it's available in their size or not, versus having to do the drop down. I'm telling you, every single click matters. So let's see, then you want to make sure you have a good product description and that has sizing information. and any other information that you can put on there. Customer reviews, that's actually a good point. If you are utilizing reviews enough, I would leave those up. But you know, the tricky part is in fast fashion, a lot of times items are in and out so quickly, and the next thing is coming in, that you never actually have the chance for reviews. So it's almost better not to have this box than to have a box with no reviews. But if you do generally have the time to get reviews, it's just case by case. So but some other cool things to do on your product page, like this is a new, we offer this as a separate service, adding this, or it's in our main packages, but the how is the fit. So run smaller, true to size, run larger. These are based on tags. So you would tag the item, whichever is appropriate. And then this is on every product page. And then some of the themes offer product description tabs. And actually, even if the theme doesn't, using 2.0, there are still ways to add additional links or things like that. But this is just a way for them, without even leaving the product page, to get all of those objections dealt with, right? So literally everything is right here. Even ask a question, where they can ask a question about this item. Obviously, we don't really want them to ask a question. We want them to just buy it. But if they're, you know, if they really have a question where they're like, I ain't buying this unless I know XYZ, then, you know, that'll be there for them. So, so those are some cool things to do on the product page. Again, just think about anything that they may be worried about. And the biggest thing is the sizing information. So whatever you can give them, let's see, do I still have, oh, there's not gonna be anything in there. Yeah, like another thing is you can do a panel here that shows, you know, meet the model information, for example. But what we normally do is at least have like a sizing guidelines page with sizing charts, and then you can have like meet the models, you know, their measurements, their photos, so that way people know, you know, and just feel comfortable picking their sizes and everything. So from a bigger picture perspective, there's the collection page or the shop by size menu. So this is an option, and this is pretty simple to do as well. I have a YouTube video on exactly how to do this if you aren't sure, but it's just obviously if they click medium, it's going to show only items that are in stock in medium now. Because again, however, we can make it as easy as possible for your customer to find what they're looking for. Now, we did just have a client request not to have this because they said that they know that their customers personally are having issues with focusing too much on the size, where things vary a lot in, you know, in actual fit. So she was like, that won't really work for me, because then they'll look at large and they'll leave if they don't see anything for them, when they probably could have fit into an extra large. That's a whole nother thing that it's just difficult. Sizing and fit is difficult. The more information you can have on your website about it, the better. So this menu, if you click small, it goes to, or medium, whatever, medium, large, it goes to only items in stock in that size. That's different from a filter, right? Because this would be like, if we were looking at new arrivals, which is all of our products on this demo, these are actual filters that correlate directly with the variance, and is a true filter. So we're on new arrivals. If I hit small, it's going to show only new arrivals available in small, versus this is everything available in small on the site. So that's just kind of the difference between the filter and the menu. This makes more sense if, like, so if we're on tops, we're only looking for small tops. We don't care about small bottoms. That's when this matters. So now the filters, there's some that are in your theme, and there's a few that you can actually do now right through Shopify natively. But you do have to, again, be on the 2.0. So if you go to navigation, this is new, this filters area, like very new. You can add these different filters, but these are all going to be based on, you know, the actual information that you're inputting into your products. So this color filter, I don't normally recommend, because when you are, so I do recommend color filters, but I just recommend doing them a different way. This color filter here is going to be based on the variant title, but when you have items that only are available in one color, you're not putting a variant title for color at all. Now you could, and that would solve the problem. But what I'm saying is, if say that you only have, you might have 100 items. If only 3 of those items actually come in multiple colors, those are the only 3 items that you're entering colors on. So those are the only ones that would work for the color filter, which then people would just click on colors thinking there's going to be something there and there's not anything there. So instead of doing it this way, I recommend doing the color filter as a tag filter. So that would mean that when you upload something that's blue, you would have to tag it as blue. But as long as you get into the habit of that, you know, then that's no problem. So, but size is awesome to use here as a filter, and price. Those 2 are my favorite. I don't really like availability is like the in stock, out of stock, but I recommend not showing out of stock items anyway. So, I mean, product type, that's a specific field, vendor. So those are the things that you might want to do, but definitely size and price. And then back on here, again, for color instead, you can do the tag filter. That's through the theme itself. And you could really do any other tag filter that you can think of. So again, I was just showing you on that other theme, the available for pickup or available for shipping only. That's useful for, we have a lot of clients that drop ship and have a storefront or allow pickup. Well, obviously they don't want to offer free pickup to somebody who's picking something for drop shipping. So obviously you have to have your shipping settings and pickup settings set up a certain way to handle all of that too, but it just helps your visitors know, you know, if those items are like with you or they're being, you know, they have to be shipped. Another thing is this, the sizing markers here that automatically cross off if they're sold out. Again, it's a really easy way for your visitor to know at a glance what's available actually in their size. And like this is not available on all themes. It's not natively on Turbo or Impulse, but like we coded in for all our clients, regardless of which themes. So, but it is built in, like it is built into Icon. So that's good to know if that's a feature you're interested in. So yeah, with your collection page, it's all about your filters and how, especially if you have a large catalog. Again, if you don't have a large catalog, it's really not as big of a deal because they can see everything at a glance. But if you do have one, make sure that you're utilizing those. And then, yeah, on the product page, just make sure sizing information is the biggest one there. But having these tabs is really helpful too. Just, can they pay you in the manner that they want to pay you in? You know, again, with the shipping and return information. And then let's see. So some last small details I wanted to make sure to cover. So just anything in that whole customer journey process that could be contradictory or vague. So if you offer pre-orders and it's marked as a pre-order, but in your product description, you haven't really clearly laid out when it's going to be there, that would be something that would concern a potential, you know, customer. Another thing is if, like, again, if you offer, like, say, free shipping, but when you get to the cart page, it says shipping calculated at checkout, they might be confused. Oh, I thought that they said free shipping over here. This says calculated at, you know, checkout. I'm out, you know, like it's literally that quick and simple for them to just decide to leave. And that's why the, you know, standard conversion rate is so stinking low at 2%, because it's the littlest things. And, you know, I mean, as humans, we're crazy. You know, we see an ad, we add something to cart, we think about it. The tiniest thing can make us just, never mind, you know?
Yeah,
So
today.
yeah. So really get into their shoes as a shopper when you're thinking about what objections they may have. So, and some of that stuff, like the on your cart page where it does say shipping calculated checkout, again, you can change that either through coding or through the theme language settings. hidden or camouflage buttons, I had kind of touched on that, but just throughout the process, especially the add to cart, the cart button itself, the continue to checkout, make sure all those buttons are prominent, and they're not like white on light gray where it's hard to read, nothing like that, or too small of a font. And just anything at all that could possibly annoy them or frustrate them or overwhelm them. Like those are the things that are going to cause an issue with them eventually getting to that purchase point. So that was the bulk of what I wanted to talk about. And I think it is about an hour in now, but I totally have time for any questions that you guys have, or if there's anything that you wanted me to show you guys in the back end that I didn't. I mean, there's so much, obviously, there's only so much that I can go over, but any other questions, you guys? I want to remove Apple Pay, Shop Pay icons from the product page. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a coding change. Because Shop Pay is directly through Shopify, you might be able to email them and they might do it at no charge. Obviously, we're always happy to help too, and can quote you on, I mean, that's not a lot of time, but could you do a quick demo on how to change the announcement bar? Yeah, so everything will be a little bit different, but they're very similar in certain ways. Like some things are really standard. So it's always when you, oh, let me go slower on there. Okay, so when you go to online store and themes, and then it's going to be usually your live theme, right? Unless you want to make a copy, so you would duplicate it, and then you can work on a copy in the background. Like if you're going to make a lot of changes, I would do that, and then only publish it when you're done with everything. But anyway, so we hit customize, and then here it'll either be, sometimes it'll be its own, or sometimes it'll be under the header. So that it can be different. So here it's, and this also, again, if this doesn't look familiar, it's because Shopify made so many changes recently. So, and even if you're not on one of the 2.0 themes, you will see that this back end does look different. But you would just click on welcome to our store and change it here. But again, sometimes it'll be under header. Like I think this one that I was just gonna look at shows it here. So you might have to play around with it, but here it's ad block and it's announcement. So it is a little bit different theme to theme. Also, how can I add an image overlay to each product navigation page? Image overlay to each product navigation page. That based on theme. I'm not sure I totally know what you mean.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so say for example, if you are on a website and you click on tops and it takes you to the tops page and there's an image at the top. If you click on bottoms, there's an image that goes across the top, because right now on mine, if you click tops, it's just going to show you all of the tops I have. There's like nothing pretty at the top of the page. So almost like a header image.
Well, personally, I would not recommend it.
Okay.
Because
I've seen it a lot and I'm like, oh gosh, that looks so cool.
Well, the issue is that it actually just takes up kind of a lot of space. Okay. And that space is so precious because that's that above the fold space. And you really want your customers to get right to your products as soon as possible. So even on the homepage, one thing I recommend people play around with, especially if they have enough traffic, is, I mean, yes, our standard is having this big hero banner because it's beautiful, but really you might want to start with your products, and that's not wrong to do. Because really that is what's most important, that you want to get people to see things that you can buy right away, that they can buy right away. But I mean, yes, that is, certain themes have that built in, if you really do want to do that, but that's why, especially when you're like, if you think about this on mobile, for example, see, this already takes up half of the page. If you added a banner, they probably wouldn't even see products. So that's kind of why on that one. And that is something else to consider on the collection pages, is how much you have going on over here. You don't want to have too many tabs, because again, that can just take up a ton of space on mobile, depending. Oh, well, Impulse cleans it up like this, but not all themes do that. Some themes will have Turbo is a good example of. See, if we had one more, it would just be way too much. This is already kind of a lot, but it's useful information too. So and current deals, this is where you have like a featured page. This is a cool way to easily always have a place where you can insert information about a sale. If you don't have a sale, it could be something basic like this. Because also if someone's looking for a deal, maybe that will help them close the deal. So yes. Okay. So I also do want to offer for any of you guys, first of all, we do offer a free consultation call if any of you guys have any questions about working with us. You know, he's actually my brother, who I've been training for the last few months. That would be chatting with you. His name is Jake. And he's totally happy to hop on any calls if you guys want to talk about how we can help in any way. And we will be offering a bonus if you mention this webinar, and we can go over those details with you if you're interested. But you can always email me if you have any specific questions, or Facebook message as well. Any last questions while I'm still here with you guys? Otherwise, I appreciate you guys for joining. I will send a recording out to everybody. It might not be till tomorrow, but it might maybe later today. We'll see. And in case you missed some of the beginning or anything, but yeah, I think that's it, you guys. And just remember that it's like, it really is some of the smallest details. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like you have to do it all overnight. Just keep making changes, you know, one thing at a time. Welcome, you guys. And yes, I do need to definitely start doing more of these. And it was really cool having some of you guys on here, and it being a little bit more interactive. We've done like the Facebook lives, but it's not as, I don't know, it's not as intimate, and it's not as like interactive, I feel like. So okay, well, I'm gonna hop off, you guys, but until next time, have a good day, everybody. Let's see. Video.